万地につく法令に準じておられます。かような根も葉もない疑惑で逆賊扱いなさるのは。
Shogun. It's a good show. Shogun. It's a good Shogun. Man, this show is freaking sweet. Like, it really... I'm definitely more into movies. Last Samurai, 47 Ronin. Pretty much anything like mix of Western, English, Japanese, Japan, blah blah blah. I guess you can put like The Ring in there too, and The Grudge. Like that's a little different, but as far as like these historical drama pieces and just getting more of an insight, but in a familiar, more native-ish, a little more engaging, a little more immersive way. And this is as good as it gets. And the issue with the movies is sometimes they're just too short. Like, you want more, because it really is like a world you can kind of get lost in, and everything you're seeing is just so different and so but familiar at the same time. And it's no different than playing like a game based in Japan, like Yakuza or Ghostwire Tokyo, Rise of the Ronin, just anything kind of like feudal Japan, traditional Neo, Onimusha, whatever you can get your hands on. I mean, there's so much of it out there, but Ghost of Tsushima, pretty soon Ghost of Yotei. In a weird way, you can put Ninja Gaiden in there. That stuff's a lot of those things are a little more fantasy based, but as far as like realistic, which is fun. It's not even on the same way with anime. Like, it doesn't always have to have like this fantasy element to it, man. I just love seeing them do what they do and do their thing, and the culture and the history, and it's great. But this show's nice because there's a lot of it, and they're, you know, each episode's about an hour, which is normal nowadays. Because this is such an epic big thing that it almost can't be done in a movie. I mean, it can if it's done right, but this was a really nice way to kind of drag it on and fill it out, and which I wouldn't normally agree with. It just depends on kind of what it is. It's not so much shows versus movies, but more the context. Like, is it something that works? Movies will always be better, they'll always be the top of the game, all these things. Shows are becoming so common now, but before then it was, you know, movies and shows have been competing for years. But this is one of those good examples where I'm glad it was a show, and I loved watching every episode, and you just knew it was going to be a good chill time, and the vibe and the tone and the pacing. And because when I really want to watch something, I'll sit down on here and watch on here and everything, if it's just whatever else, or depending on how good the platform is, if I get better quality on here on the phone or whatever. But with something of this scale, and it's not like watching Godzilla or King Kong, or, you know, something where it really makes use of that big screen, or bigger screen, whatever. But there's just nothing like sitting down on your chair, all the lights are off, and just watching something like this. It never gets too loud or annoying, but it's so quiet and calm and relaxing and soothing and satisfying. That's because it's serious. That's because it's not goofy, wacky, random craziness, hyper, but it's a show you can really dive into, and you're a part of the world, and you're living there, and you're having a perspective and angle of what it's like to be there. And you'll always see this with documentaries and just pretty much anything that depicts, obviously we're not living in this time period at all, but the way that it can be done so accurately. And even in games you can get that kind of, like Rise of the Ronin is really the game that matches with this the most. It's almost shot for shot. Half the scenes in this was like literally right out of that game, vice versa. And I just love that stuff. I can't, like, when you're wanting an escape and just stepping out for a minute, like, it's so perfect. Just thinking about it is so, like, it's just so zen and just, oh, I love it. But it's not like it's just chilling all the time either. There's wars, there's battles, there's this and that. But a lot of it's just like talking, and that's what shows are good at, is just really keeping that dialogue going and talking. And I mean, movies do that too, but it's all about not having too much going on at one time, but not spreading it out too thin, and finding that balance and spacing things out. And it's so good. You have like every big Japanese actor, Japanese, American, Western, whatever actor in here. Pretty much anyone who's Japanese that can speak some English, or even though like 90% of this was all Japanese. Which, to be fair, is another point. Like, you know, the thing with Japanese movies, if there's no English in it at all, you really gotta, like, you want to know what's going on, you want to read the subtitles, even though it'd be nice to not have to, and to just kind of watch and just enjoy it. But, it's definitely worth it. It's worth spending that, but it's like, hey, am I tired? Am I not in a good mood? Or you just really, you really got to be in the right mindset to even pay attention at all, and focus and concentrate. And but it does a good enough job of pulling you in enough to the point where you're invested and you want to know what's going on. But like between J-horror stuff and maybe things like this, or whatever you can pretty much possibly think of, at least with like Western stuff, like a mix of the two, you can kind of take a break. Like, okay, I can hear them, I know what they're saying, I understand. Hey, a little bit of reading in between, fine. You know, it's that little sacrifice. I'm the same way with games too. I don't watch subtitled anime, I watch only dubbed. If there's a Japanese game that has English in it, I'm gonna do that every single time. But if there's something that forces me to hear it in Japanese, like Yakuza, I'll do it. I don't really look at it that way, like, oh, it has to be like their native language and I have to comprehend it to the best of my abilities with who I am and where I'm from to acknowledge it the most appropriate way. And that's looking at it a little too far, man. You're just splitting hairs at that point. Because, like, regardless, it's like, hey, man, you're watching it, you're taking it in, you're enjoying it. At the end of the day, it's entertainment. It's not educational, academic. You're not gonna, like, learn how to speak it from just watching. Like, maybe, depending on how your brain works, but it's supposed to just be like a sit-down thing. Enjoy it. But it's definitely worth it. There's only like, what, one English actor in the whole thing, the one white guy, of course, right? But I love it because it's the same story every time, and this is all... The more you see it, the more you latch onto it, like, oh, this is all gotta be based off of something, like a Neo, William, the White Samurai, 47 Ronin, Keanu Reeves, the one white guy. we'll even see that in anime, like kind of this foreigner, this gaijin who just washed up on the shore or somehow ended up there out of nowhere magically, and you know, gets raised and taught of their lifestyle and their culture. And like in Assassin's Creed Shadows, Yasuke, I thought Yasuke was just an Assassin's Creed thing. He's also in Samurai Warriors. He's a big guy. And even if it's not like historically accurate, there's got to be some like a myth or a legend or something about. And it's cool because it speaks to the whole like wanting to visit, wanting to live there as someone who's not from there, and you take such an interest in that place and the people and everything around them. And maybe you're comparing it to where you live and where you're from, and it's somewhere where you feel like you belong, and somewhere you know that it's possible in some case to, like, I can be that guy and someone that represents who like we are too, people that aren't from there. You have these characters that stand in for you and you can relate to them, which I'm not normally crazy about. Like, I don't need someone that looks like me to, like, a superhero role model. Like, I'm happy with what I get, man. But in this case, it's really implemented in there good, and just everything's good. The atmosphere, the settings, the sounds, the clothes, the buildings, the architecture, I mean, we've all seen it done before, and it's not, I wouldn't even say it's so much that this show does it better. Like, when anything is Japan-based, it's always going to have that attention to detail. It's always going to have that quality no matter what, because that's just the standard, period. But the show did have obviously like a very big production and budget, and what I love about, like, there's no one bad movie that represents this country at all. Whether it's made there or over here or whatever. Like, there's always there's so much respect there for the material and the resources, and that's kind of just normal. But I think here, like, any time, it's just done so much more. Like, there's so much more effort there, and energy and effort being put into this project. In the casting, like, I like the white guy. It's funny, he looks just like freaking, God, I keep forgetting his name, the dude who played Venom. God, what's his butt? He was in Upgrade, I think. Yeah, Tom Hardy. Yeah. He was in he's Bane in Batman. But literally, they look just the same. I was actually kind of shocked that they're different people. Just this kind of big burly guy, and the fact that this guy in this, I think he has an actual accent too, but he's obviously like Portuguese or something. But Tom is also really good at that too. Like, he never just talks normal, really. He always has some kind of voice effort put behind all those roles and stuff. So that makes it even more confusing. But yeah, you got the one dude, I keep forgetting his name. He's in like every samurai movie ever. And you have some other familiar faces. There's only really like a few big stars like that. But yeah, I don't think they grabbed everybody. I want to say there's like one guy missing. It was the dude who played the I don't even know what you'd really call him at this point. The guy who was in charge in The Last Samurai. The guy who was in Tokyo Vice. But they had a couple of them. There was the main dude who played the Shogun or something. And then some other dude who was like kind of the big main supporting character. I definitely know he's in some other stuff. But yeah, it's great. The effects were good. The set pieces, how long it actually was, like it could have been shorter if they really wanted to, but because what's weird about this is like there's not much of a story there, you know, like it's been done so many times, but just not really like this. Because it's like, yes, we've seen it all, but the thing is, it works. It's effective. It's clean. It's smooth. It's relatable. It makes an impact and has a punch and a hook, and because it's a lot. The one reason why, especially anime or whatever else you can think of, depend so much on the fantasy element of stuff is because they got to make it a little interesting and like still entertaining, because if not, it's literally just people sitting around, you know, sipping tea and yapping, and there's really not much to it. But that's the beauty of it, is it really is that whole less is more, you know, short and sweet in a way, as far as not trying to expand it like too much, as far as like trying to just ram everything in there. And this is one of those things you don't watch just for the battles, you don't watch just for the wars. Like, if that's the main gist of the whole movie, it's still gonna be good, but it's not always about all the action and the fights. And me particularly, I love the filler. I love them seeing, just talking and conversing and communication and bonding and friendships and relationships, and that's the shit I love the most, is because it's that thing you can really take from and kind of be a part of in a way. Versus the battling, it's cool, but I mean, you know, just a bunch of guys with swords killing each other, and which is cool in its own right, but this is definitely not something that's kind of the cherry on top, I guess. And unfortunately, once again, that's all this is really about. They have to have something there to kind of attach itself to, which is the war, which is, you know, the whole ending of that era, and something that's been alive for so long, and warriors and battling and samurai and shogun and this and that. You know, it's the same story with Samurai 7, Rurouni Kenshin. It's like the start of peace and tranquility and prospering and finally getting out of their old ways and into the new, and trying to be more modern and adapting to the future and learning and growing and evolving, and it's good stuff. And yet they still find a way to kind of keep it traditional and not forget your roots and remember who you are. And it's literally like the whole show is kind of like, hey, this is the end of an era thing, but we're still, you know, we're still here and doing our thing and going strong. And I think it's pretty cool. Other than that, I mean, it's tough because there's so much to this, but there's not really either. Like, but I'd say if you were to get like a message or signal from it directly, other than like obviously when you think of like the emperor, the shogun in this case, like stepping down and becoming more of like a government and not, you know, losing monarchy and kings and queens and this and that. Obviously, that was something that was gonna die out a long time ago. Like, it was always just gonna happen. But it's interesting seeing it from this side. But I guess the biggest message of it all would be the fact that, because you don't want to take away with all the political stuff too much from the fact that, hey, there's a white guy in a far distant eastern land. This is where the sun rises, not sets. And it's the relation between two nations, two worlds, two countries, that's kind of the big message there, is the fact that it can be done, and it's not easy, and it can be difficult, and there's hurdles you gotta go over, but it's a thing, and it's about accepting other people and the fact that there is a whole world out there that exists besides your own little island, and kind of getting out of your tribal bad habits and being more open-minded and optimistic. And that's kind of what I take away from it the most. It's not even just like I look at it like a broad spectrum spread out. Like, I'm always kind of grabbing things from it, and that was the thing that related to me the most. It's gonna be different for everyone. They're either just gonna be like, hey, I love this culture, I love samurais, I love weapons and armor. They're just gonna find something to kind of attach to. Like when guns were first a thing, gunpowder, cannons, and muskets, and or they could just be fans of the actors particularly. Like, everyone's gonna have their own reasons. It's something new to watch, whether they're interested in that stuff at all, or... But for me, it was kind of a whole package, because I'm like, this is my thing, this is what I love, and there's really not much else to it. And it wasn't even a matter of like, should I watch it, should I not? Do I want to go out of my way to watch it specifically, like only this really, and didn't really care for anything else the service provided or whatever. It was mostly just like anything like this, because it only comes up so often, you gotta snatch it up. Because these type of movies and shows are not as common as everything else. It's not being constantly pumped out. And there's only really a good few examples out there. So, I mean, if you dig hard enough, there's plenty of Japanese movies, you just gotta find them. But you want to also, like, enjoy kind of what it's about, too, you know? Other than the fact that, like, yeah, if you're simping for that country, you'll pretty much be down to watch whatever, but there's obviously going to be things you favor more than others and would prefer, preferences. But yeah, it was good. The main chick, she was also in what was it called? Just Godzilla? The Apple Plus show? Oh man, I don't even remember what it is. Oh, Monarch. That's right. Yeah. It was really cool seeing her in this and that, because you know, she's really representing that she's on the front lines of like being a Japanese person and speaking it and being in the country and representing it and showing it some love and support, but she walks that very fine line of kind of being a part of both things. And I think that would be a very interesting position to be in, because it's not like, okay, she looks like it, but she was grown up here, but doesn't really know how to speak the language, or she's very culture deprived. But she's not from there either, where she's just kind of avoiding the whole English Western American thing completely. Because she can speak very fluent, like, English. And I think a lot of these other Japanese actors, they can definitely speak English, but there's still that heavy accent there. So you're not really understanding everything they're saying per se, but yeah, I do like her. I definitely liked her more in this than Monarch. Those are the only two things I know she's really done, but just between the two things alone, that's pretty cool. Like, those are pretty cool roles to have, and I don't know, it's interesting, like, everyone is just a main character. There's not even, I wouldn't even say, like, there's side characters or this, everyone's so included and so a part of the story, and they do a good job at giving everyone plenty of screen time, and it's obviously mostly about what's his butt, but, I mean, it's funny because not only who he is, he mostly plays like the right hand guy, the guy in charge, but he's not really like the guy, you know. So in this one, he was. It was cool to see him in power and to be the boss, and he really deserves that. He's put in so much work throughout the years, and he was always just like the badass who knew what he was doing and knows his way around a sword, and obviously very high up in the ranks. He's kind of like Kakashi or something from Naruto. He's just really up there in the echelon of, like, he could be in charge, but he doesn't really want to, or like have the responsibility. He's just kind of like, hey man, I just want to be here and do my thing and what I'm good at and what role I can have, and so this is cool. It's just a really put together, well put together show, and and between this and games, you can really kind of put it together and have this kind of full 360 idea of not only what was it like back then in this country, but just being there even now today or whatever, because a lot of that stuff is so carried over to today's standards over there. Everything's still around, like, even all these years later. I imagine you can't go there and not see something samurai related, or, you know, old buildings that are landmarks, or it was such an important building foundation piece of that entire thing. So I guess the next best thing from the show would be to literally go there and see it for yourself. Like, but as far as on screen, and this is kind of as good as it's gonna get, because even the downside with games is that it's a game, so it's not really like, it's a little more of an interactive way to be in there in that world, but it's not all practical. It's not it's all like, you know, in the game it's all CG generated stuff and made from scratch or whatever. Like, here it's like, it's funny because it's not even something that has to be filmed over there directly. Like, you can literally recreate this stuff anywhere, and as long as you have the data and the plans and all that. But it just goes to show you can literally take such a far away world and put it anywhere you want. It's really no different than visiting like a Japanese garden or something. It's like, there's a piece of that here. That's pretty cool. All the anime, all the figures, all the toys, everything that they do, the cards, it all comes from there. It's all imported. Basically, technically. All the games, even the studios that make those, having access to all that stuff is such a luxury, and you're really thankful you're able to partake in other things out there that you're interested in. But yeah, this show, I mean, above all those things, it's really the highest peak of what this all could have came out to be. And because throughout all those different medias and mediums or whatever, you can kind of grab a little bit from everything, but this really gives, it's the whole cake. It's not just a slice, it gives you the whole thing. And I'm glad they made it. I'm glad it was made. I'm glad I watched it and was able to see it in my lifetime. And like, I don't want to glorify it too much, because it's like, hey, this wasn't exactly like a game changer or something so, you know, over the top or crazy, but it was just kind of that nice sweet spot of being able to fulfill that void, that emptiness inside of you that craves these things, and that it really is an obsession. And unfortunately throughout time you really have to suppress that, and this is a great way for that to kind of come out and just be like, hey man, this is really cool. I'm enjoying this, and there's not a whole lot of things that you can really dive into that deeply. It's just, yeah, I like this, but it's okay. This is cool, but meh. Like, this is it. And this is always going to get so much more respect. Even as much as I love anime, like, this is where this is the source. You really can't get any better than that. I mean, you can only go so far back, but this is about where it all started. This is the origin. This is the building blocks for what we know and love today. Obviously, it's kind of funny because this was definitely more towards the end of all that, in a way. But it was like this for so long that nothing's really ever changed. So even towards the end, you really can grasp that entirety of. Because you always sit there and wonder, like, what would have it been like to be alive hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago? How different would things have been? How would I be the same person still? And how would I see life and the things around me and talk and dress and everything? And what's cool about this is you get that and then some. You get that and the Japanese thing specifically, that flavor, that style, that spice. So you're getting like a 2-in-1 deal. It's not bad. I guess for me a 3-in-1, because you get that and you just the fact that I enjoy this stuff regardless of what it is, whatever format it takes. I like the music, I like everything, so it really speaks to me, and I can relate to it so much up to a point where it really does become this like spiritual, natural kind of synergy coming together and fusion of like me and this, and I could, as much things as I like, I can't say that about everything, so stuff like this stands out to me so much that I can't help it, and I get like overly excited, but then it's like you gotta tell yourself to kind of settle down, calm down. Easy. But yeah, I don't know. It does its job well, it does it right, it does it good. There's really not much more you can ask for. Other than that, it's like, yeah, you get exactly what you'd expect. The thing is, there's fans of this stuff, and there's people that just don't really have an interest or care because they're so enamored and worried about their own, where they live and where they're from, and they may not even care at all. But that's the beauty of something like this existing at all, is the fact that you can not only appreciate all your own stuff, but you can like what else is out there too. You're making room for more people, more opportunities, more wisdom and knowledge, and more, and it's always about learning and getting taught new things, and it's never a bad thing. that's the goal. You want to know as much as you can, or at least up to a point where it's not like you're trying to learn and know every single thing out there. It's a big world. You're not going to be able to... But if you're going to dive into anything at all, choose one, pick something, and hopefully just... But it's not being forced or something either. It's like, hey, this... You start to learn from a very early on age that this is what I like and this is what I love, and... It's pretty rare, I think, someone's ever... Because it's easy to focus on the things around you. Like, that's not hard to do. And you might get too caught up in it or whatever, but at least stuff like this, you can really... Not only are you telling yourself that, and it's no disrespect to wherever it is that you're originally from, but it's kind of cool in a way. Not only would a Japanese person be able to respect that, the fact that you're taking an interest in something that they're a part of too, but it goes both ways, and even the people around you are like, hey, that's cool, like I like that stuff too, and we could be friends because of it and share that common ground. Is to have anything in common with anybody, it's not easy to do, and it might only be one or two things, but especially this alone could be such a pretty big deal. Because you're not only just sharing like a singular interest, this is like many things. Multiple things where there's Japan, and then there's everything else. There's Japan, samurai, anime, blah blah blah. So if you like it up here, you're gonna like everything that follows. There's not one bad thing because it's all included, so you don't even really need to pick it apart because it's all there. But yeah, Shogun.
This is not where we die. We should be corpses. But here we are.
Hey! Hey!